Well, first I want to welcome everybody for coming here today. I know it's the middle of the day and everybody's busy, but I think that's what brings us all together, is that we're all in this world of selling, and we're all in this world of trying to influence behavior, and we all have a job to share what our message is. And so I personally want to thank you for investing your time, your energy, and your life with us here today. As Brian mentioned, I'm the CEO of BetterLoanOfficers.com, and one of the things that, as we kind of get into this, people are asking me, what is this webinar series that we're doing? And we decided to call it the Better 52, and really was inspired by conversations of people asking me, Rene, if I were to spend a year of my life devoted to improvement, what would I do? And that was a question that's been asked to me many, many times. And I sat down one time and I said, okay, what if I had 52 weeks, what would I focus on? Just with that week, what would I focus on week by week, day by day? What are the things that got me to be a sales professional, that took me to where I'm at? What are the things that I've learned from some of the most professional, successful people around the country, around the world? And that's what this is. This is a commitment to you, those of you on the phone here today. This is for 52 weeks. We're going to be doing this on a weekly basis. We're going to be recording these because obviously it's not something you'll probably be able to meet or come on to every single one of these, but this is our commitment to you. And you see there in the bottom left-hand corner, taking the pledge. We want BetterLoanOfficers.com to be not just a service that provides value, but also more of a movement. You know that you probably know this even better than I do. The mortgage industry has been through hell. It's been through a lot of changes, and those that are left over now are the ones that are the true professionals. And that was really one of the inspirations behind why we created Better Loan Officers.
Say, Rene, I think can't hear you. You want to check your microphone quick?
Okay, I'm now back on. So yeah, I'm back on now.
You're good.
You guys hear me okay?
Yep.
I'll just continue. So with powerful tools to manage, leverage, and improve your online reputation, and we have a robust company portal, and currently we're the largest directory in the country with over 500,000 profiles. So everybody here on the phone already has a profile with us, and all you have to do is claim that free profile. We offer value to 3 different clients. One is to consumers, where they can search and find quality loan officers, and for real estate agents, where they can vet out who's on the other side of that transaction to ensure timely closings, and for loan officers, where they can control and manage their online reputation, and for mortgage companies, where they can see the collective reviews of their company's reputation. And so just to jump right into what the vision of this is, and it really goes into why we're all here today. We created this to be the voice and the currency of trust. Trust has been something that's been hard to gain back in the mortgage industry based on all the things that have happened. And that falls right under you, the loan officer, because your job is to create trust. Your job is to build relationships with not only consumers, but with referral partners and realtors to ensure that they get their loans closed on time, that they get their process and promises are kept. There's a lot of pressure, especially after everything that's happened. And so the mission behind that is we want to provide you tools that give you a voice that conveys trust and professionalism. And so this is part of one of those tools, is the skill set of becoming a more influential leader within the industry. And the challenge is, I think all of us here on the phone have all been into some sort of goal-setting workshop where we say, this is the direction that we are headed, this is where we are going, this is what we're trying to accomplish. But how many of us can relate to the feeling of feeling so disorganized on the inside, whether it be our processes, our sales process, other people that maybe aren't aligned with the same vision that we have, and yet we have this goal, and we've done such a good job of creating this view of who we are, this brand, but yet on the inside, maybe even as our processes, we don't feel as organized as we are. And so what our goal here is with this is to not only help you create those goals, but to help align all of those elements that are going to help you get there. And that's what this Better 52 series is all about. And so let's talk about this piece, professional selling. This, at the end of the day, is what every single one of us here on this phone is here to do. We are here to sell. And I remember when I was 18 years old, I was cut from my sophomore basketball team in college, one of the most devastating events of my life. And after giving 15 years of my life and discipline to a sport, I had nowhere to go. I didn't know what to do. I was fortunate enough to have a conversation with the CEO of a very large company, and I asked him, what's the one thing that I need to do now to be in your shoes when I grow up? And he looked at me and he smiled and he said, Rene, he says, you learn how to sell. If you learn how to sell, you'll always be employed. And at 18 years old, I didn't ask any questions, especially of somebody of that caliber. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I get a letter in the mail recruiting me into a fast-paced health and wellness company in the sales and marketing industry based on my GPA. Now, I thought that was pretty interesting because my GPA was a 2.7 at the time, but I didn't care. You know what? I got the opportunity. I'm going to take it. And that opportunity was just to sell cookware door to door. Now, I was the last person to make a sale because my mother was out of town. And finally, when she came back in town, she gave me the sympathy purchase and bought a set. And by the end of the summer, 79 of the 80 kids that were hired quit. I remained on and became number 5 in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. I remember at the annual sales party, sales rally that I'd won a ticket to because of my production, sitting there in New York City and remembering how I felt that basketball had stabbed me in the back. I was told that I could be as good as I wanted to be if I just worked hard. And I worked hard. I had the discipline. I set the curfews. And it didn't serve me in that sense. I didn't see the success that I wanted to. And because the reality was I can only be as successful as a coach would allow me to because they could pull me in and out of the game no matter how good I was. But sales, that was different. I realized at that moment that sales, nobody could pull me out of the game. If I sold, if I closed, if I produced value, nobody could take me out of the game. And so in essence, what I learned then was I could be as good as I would allow myself to be. And so this is what I'm talking about today is at one of the cores of my passion, one of the things that to me wakes me up every day. If I were to get one tattoo, it would say sales professional on it. And even though I do keynote speeches, I do change management, my background's in behavioral neuroscience, I love how the brain works. At the end of the day, selling, communication, influence, persuasion, those are the things that drive me every day. And so I want to challenge you with this question of what is the problem with this as a job description? And this is the job description that I see most often, is your job is to close deals. And the reality is this isn't a job description. This is an end result. This is a metric that says, how good are your sales right now? And the challenge with it is it doesn't give you a process of how to bridge that gap from getting from one side to the other. And this is one of the biggest challenges I've seen in any sales profession is that people say your job is to go out there and close deals, but they don't know how to get there. And a lot of the metrics that are being used are the wrong ones. And I'll give you an example. If you were to go to the doctor is going to take a metric, a very important metric. And when we think about metrics, and I'll give you an example here before we can go into that example, when it comes to metrics, 2 important questions that you need to answer is, one, is it a lagging or is it a leading indicator? And we're going to talk about what those 2 mean here in a second. And the second one, does this metric help me cause change? So if you think about those 2 pieces, a leading indicator is a number today that predicts a number tomorrow. If you've ever heard of the example of the canary in the coal mine, what happens is that the old-time coal miners would take a canary down into the coal mine, and the canaries had a much smaller respiratory system than humans did. And so when they would see that the canary had a hard time breathing or would pass over and die, they knew that it was time to go, and they had to get out of there. That was what their leading indicator was, something that happened that could predict what was happening next. Lagging indicators are historical metrics that tell you how you are doing. Now, these are important things, but they don't help you cause change. That's the big challenge with them. And so there's a big difference between leading and lagging indicators. And I'll give you a big example here. If you were to go to the doctor's going to take a very important measure, and that's blood pressure. They're going to tell you basically if you're alive, dead, sick, or healthy. And so when you think about that, say, okay, so if I were to take you into the doctor and say, okay, John, your blood pressure is a little bit high. I need you to change that for me right now. Lower it for me. Your response, number one, isn't going to be something along the lines of like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was supposed to be lower. Thank you so much. You close your eyes and you lower it. Hey, doc, you're a genius. No, of course not. Especially if you were to put pressure on you and say, well, you need to lower it now. In fact, it might even have the opposite effect and might make your blood pressure go higher. And so even though this is a very crucial metric, the question is, does it help you cause change? And the answer is no, because it doesn't give you any direct control. The metric is important to say if you're alive, dead, sick, or healthy, but it doesn't help you cause change. So what's the difference between the sales manager coming in the office and saying, oh, sales are low, go sell more? I think we've all seen the movie where the annoying manager comes in and says, yeah, we're going to need you to sell more. And of course, the answer is not going to be, oh my gosh, I didn't know. I mean, I'm a salesperson, but I'm supposed to sell more? Man, I never thought of that. Well, of course not. You're not going to think that. In fact, it's going to be one of the most frustrating conversations because we all know we want to sell more. But the question is how? How are we going to do this? And when we look at these lagging indicators, it doesn't help us cause any change. It doesn't help us do anything different. And if we were to take a silent poll, is how many of us on this phone want to be able to sell more or have ever been in a slump? We've all been there. If you're in the sales professionals, we've been there before. And the question is, how do we get out? So if you go to the Mayo Clinic, they're also going to take your blood pressure. But they have a very different approach. They see that your blood pressure is a little bit high. They're going to tell you, you know what, Rene, don't worry. Here's what we want you to do. We want you to follow this two-step process. We want you to breathe in for 3 seconds, and we want you to breathe out for 4. There's the metric. 3 in, 4 out. In fact, we're going to do it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and then 4 seconds out. Man, make sure you get that 4th second. And if you did it wrong, they're going to catch you and say, you know what, John, I saw you do 2 seconds in and 2 seconds out. I'm going to need you to do 3 seconds in and 4 seconds out. Now, does that help you cause change? Does that help you make a difference? Of course, because you have direct control over your breathing. You can control the 3 seconds in and that 4th second out. And what happens after about 10 minutes, the doctor comes back, magically blood pressure is lower because they gave you a metric, something you can control that causes change. And so here's the big question of today. What is that breathing of selling? What is that thing that no matter what is going on, no matter where you are, no matter where you are in your career, if you did this one activity, it would have the end result of more sales? That's what we're going to be dissecting here today and looking really deeply in. But before we go into it, we're going to need to understand 2 concepts, and this concept of what we call an order taker. And an order taker is how I define somebody that facilitates a transaction that would have happened anyways. In essence, we call you a vending machine. Vending machines are there, they offer a value, but you've never seen a vending machine, as you're walking by and go, psst, hey, you're looking kind of thirsty. It doesn't happen, right? Vending machines sit there, they have a value. If you are thirsty, if you are hungry, you will find that vending machine, you will enter the money, you will enter the code, and they will spit out and facilitate a transaction that would have happened with or without the vending machine. And so in essence, no value was created there. How different is that than a refi boom and somebody that calls you and says, hey, I'm ready to refinance. Okay, great, I'll take that order. In fact, when interest rates go low, we need that skill set of being able to catch as many of those deals as we can. The challenge is, during refi booms, we tend to forget what got us to being successful. And when interest rates go up, vending machines can become really lonely because nobody's seeking them out. And so what we want to look at is the converse of this is what we call a sales professional. And a sales professional is defined as somebody who creates sales by uncovering unseen value. They create the sale because they're good at uncovering value that the customer, the consumer, the realtor, referral partner hasn't seen. And so that's what we're striving for. And so I call the order taker somebody who's an externally focused victim. They look at the outside world and they're a victim of that. So they say things like, well, the market is slow, therefore I'm not selling as much. The professional we call an internally focused proactive. They say things like, I need to make more phone calls and start asking for more deals. Very different. Somebody taking responsibility versus somebody looking externally and placing blame. The victim says, well, they need to give me better pricing. If I had better pricing, I'd sell more. The professional says, I need to ask better questions and add more value. Again, taking responsibility. The victim says, yeah, I know how to overcome objections. I've taken that class. Whether the professional says, wait, how did you overcome that objection? And they pull out their voice recorder and they record it, they write it down, they go home and they practice it because the sales professional is never, ever done learning. It is something that they're doing. In fact, that's why all of you are here today, because if you felt like you were done learning, you wouldn't be on a webinar like we are today. So let's take a look at the market and identify and break up our customers into 3 segments. We're going to break them up into 1, people that are not interested, there's no clear value or need identified. People that are interested, where there's clear value identified, but they haven't crossed this hash line here where they're actually sold. And so in the marketplace, in this green area, you're going to find some people that are already pre-sold. This is the vending machine order taker mindset. They're going to come over and they're going to come to you. Yeah, we'll take those deals all day long. They're the ones that call you and say, hey, I saw your website online and I saw that you need these docs filled out. I found my own 1003 document. I filled this out and here are my signatures and anything else you need from me, and you did no work. Man, if we could just do that all day long, how happy would we all be? But the reality is there aren't many of those. So then we look at the interested segment here where people are interested. There's clear value identified, but they haven't crossed over this line yet. And so it takes some natural skill and some hustle to be able to go over and pull some of those people across. And so that's the natural skill set. So now, but my favorite place to play, and the place I'm going to challenge each and every single one of us here to really consider as to what our focus should be, is in this area of people that are not interested, where there's no clear value or need identified. And the big key word here would be yet. And these are the people with the frowny faces. Here's one thing I can guarantee you. If you were to service one of these people in green here, and you were to help them out, they'd be happy. They'd be like, great, thanks so much. But what if somebody over here in the red area really needed your help, but they didn't know it? They didn't know they could save $300-400 a month. They didn't know that they were in a mortgage that was negative and it was going to hurt them later on. They didn't know that they were working with a professional that was lying to them. And you were the one that was able to communicate value and uncover value that they didn't see, where they went from, I have no interest in, to going, wait, hold on a second, tell me more about that. And you were to help them do that. Imagine how grateful and how thankful they would be. And the reality is, would they ask you about price? No, because you're the only one that knew how to uncover that value. Guess what? Over here, these people, they're going to be talking about price. They're going to be shopping you around. And those people that are over here, they're also going to refer the same kind of people that are going to be shopping and looking for the lower price. But those over here, if we can turn that around and be that sales professional, there is an endless supply of opportunity, because I can guarantee you this, there's an endless supply of people that have zero interest in talking to you. And so if we can learn that skill set, that's going to be something that's going to make a huge difference. And as we grow our career, we're going to run into what I call a ceiling of complexity. And now, just think about this for a minute. And imagine this ceiling here, this black line, as being 5 loans a month. This is what I've seen in the last 11, 12 years I've been in the industry, is that there's a group of us that are stuck here at this 5 loan a month, and we kind of beat our heads against the ceiling, and we just can't seem to get past or break through what this 5 loans are. And 5 loans is still a great income. And so for some it's incentivizing, for others it's not. But this 5 loans a month, and the mistake I think that people make sometimes is they say that this is now the limit of their potential, is they're stuck at 5 or whatever that ceiling is. But I want to help reframe that for you. I want you to reframe that and call it a ceiling of complexity. And the reason why we do that is because complexity implies that there's a solution at the end of it. It just might be a little bit more complex. And guarantee you, if you're at a certain ceiling here, maybe it's 5 loans, do you know somebody that is at maybe 10 loans a month? And so if they are at 10 loans a month, what if you guarantee that these people had something to help them break through into that next piece, and all of a sudden you figured out that complexity, that solution, and you move forward, only to then find, what do we find? Another ceiling. But this time you're looking at it differently. You're not thinking about this as a limit of my potential. You're thinking about this, hold on a second, there was a complexity here and I figured it out. I learned how to sell. I learned how to market a little bit better. But now I'm doing 10 loans a month. Man, I've got operational issues. I've got things I've got team members I got to work with and leadership challenges. But hold on, let me find somebody that's broken through this, and bam, we break through this, and you keep going through that process until you find that place of success. And so part of being successful, part of growing production, is also allowing yourself to believe that you can, and surrounding yourself around the people that have already done it. But you have to have the mindset. And that part of that mindset is saying, okay, what is it, a limit of potential, or is it just a ceiling of complexity? And I will challenge you on calling it this ceiling of complexity. So let's define some terms here as we go through this, because I'm very big on sales process. The first one what we call a sales activity. And a sales activity is something that you control. If you know me very well, I'm very big on only dealing in things that we have direct control over. Something you control. It's proactive. It's not something that happens to you. So if the phone rings and it's a lead, great. It's awesome. Take the call, but that's not a sales activity. But if you pick up the phone and you make the call, that is a sales activity. Very different. Something that you can control. And so if we think about every time you get a lead, that lead is going to take you through a series of steps, a sales process to get to the end. Every industry, every delivery of some value has what we call dependent events. If you are buying paper or manufacturing paper in some way, shape, or form, there's dependent events. That the tree's got to be chopped down before it can be turned into mulch. The same is true in the sales process, where we have to generate leads before we can even talk to them. If we don't have leads, we really have nothing. And so everything begins with a sales activity and some sort of result. The next piece, and if you can write this down, I urge you to write this down, this definition of what we call a commitment objective. And a commitment objective is the goal of each selling activity. So if you look at the activity from 1 to 2, it's each one of those activities has a goal, and that goal requires the client to make a commitment. This is important. Each word in this definition is important. It's the goal of each selling activity that requires the client to make a commitment, to agree to take some action that will let you both move forward to the next step in the sales process. Think about that for a minute. There's a goal. 1, I've identified that I've got steps to take. 2, there's a goal in between each one of those steps, and they're called commitment objectives. And those goals require the client to make a commitment, and a specific commitment, to let us both move forward. And so when you understand that concept, that's the day that you realize how much of our sales or quote-unquote sales activity really isn't sales activity. It's just busyness. It's not productive. Because if there's no commitment objective, what is it? Is it a meet and greet? Well, what's the purpose of a meet and greet? When I sold cookware, we measured our success by a ruler. How high was the stack of leads? That was our objective. It wasn't about relationships. It wasn't anything. We measured our success at trade shows by that ruler. How high was that stack? Now, the challenge is the commitment objectives, they change from activity to activity. So if you look over here, from 1 to 2, you have commitment objective A, and then B, and then C, and then D, and so on. And so as we look at that, what I have found is that most people don't so much confuse sales process. What they confuse is the commitment objective between each step. A lot of times they may be in commitment objective A, which may be just to get a date, time, and a place, or to have a lead, but they're thinking about how do I sell the entire product or sell the entire mortgage. No, you just need to get an appointment with that realtor. All too often I hear people oversell versus just making a connection and having them agree to want to meet. Very different sales process, very different objective on that phone call. And a lead identify as either a potential client or potential referral source that expresses interest in doing business with you. You need to have their name, address, phone, and email to count as a lead. So when we look at those elements, to take a moment, just copy that goal, the commitment objective definition, because we're going to be coming back to it. So let's take a look at the difference between somebody who has a defined sales process and somebody who has no defined sales process. And here's what I found. As Brian said, we've trained over 100,000 people in this industry, or in different kinds of training. I can't tell you how many sales professionals I've run into in different companies. And the first thing I analyze is what's their sales process? How do they bring a product to market? And this is how does the salesperson get a lead, generate it, and I'll bring it to close. And I'm not shocked anymore, but you would be shocked to hear how many companies, how many salespeople do not have a defined sales process. And what's fascinating to me is that they still are able to make sales. But what's exciting is when we can define that process, just how much more they're able to sell. So let's take a look at this person. I'm going to tell you a story about the person in red and the person in blue. Person in red here, man, they love their customer. They love customer service. They will do anything to serve their customer. In fact, man, they will even take the realtor's dry cleaner for them because they think of that as what they call concierge level service. And they have challenges. They're really busy, though. I mean, they have a hard time returning phone calls. They have a hard time making it to their kids' basketball games, and baseball games, and football games, and soccer games. And they're constantly apologizing and saying, you know what, hey, Dad, Mom, we've got to get the job done, and we're there to serve our customers. But they're busy. Now, a person in blue here, they also love customers. They love customer service, and they do their job, but they return all phone calls because they think to themselves, why wouldn't I return a phone call? That's kind of what we do, right? And so they would never take somebody's dry cleaning to the office, to the dry cleaner, because it's not an activity that really is part of their sales process. It just doesn't make any sense to them. So what's the real difference between these two? And I want you to take a look at this, what the actual difference is. And here it is. It's 1 sale, 2 sales, 3 sales, 4 sales, 5 sales to their 1. Person in blue is going to sell 5 to their 1 because they have a streamlined process. They know their objective of each of their sales calls. Very little of their time is wasted in what they're doing, versus person in red is going round and round trying to figure out their way and accidentally landing, and most of the time led by the client to land at these different steps versus taking control over the process, also taking control of their career. And so I can't tell you how many times I've asked this question of how many people feel like the person in red in an entire room has gone up. Even if I were to ask this room, right now, or the people that are on this webinar, how many of you feel like the person in red or have felt like the person in red, to raise your hand. I'll raise my hand as well. I too, no matter how many times I've taught this, I've fallen out of touch with what my sales process is, what my commitment objectives are. And it doesn't matter when you fall off. All that matters is when you recognize it. How can you fall back on to being that defined sales process? And if you don't have one, how can we define it? And that's what this next slide is about, is to help us do that. Good news is the research shows that if you do define and are clear on your commitment objective, it reduces your sales cycle time by 25%. Think about that over a year. That's an extra 3 months of sales time and an extra 3 months of income just by identifying this commitment objective. Powerful stuff. So when I first got started in sales, I was told that Rene, there's only 6 ways that you make money, and as a sales professional, fully commissioned sales professional, and anything else that you do is a complete and total waste of time. Now, 18 years old, you really don't ask any questions, but over the years, I've come back to really fall on this, and this is a fundamental. And somebody once said, hey, Rene, be careful of the person who says, I got a new fundamental for you, because they'll lie to you about other things as well. It's like somebody saying, hey, we manufacture antiques. This doesn't make any sense. These are fundamental things, which means they've been around forever, and they're going to be around forever. And so a lot of times the best people that I've seen, the most successful people that I've seen, are the ones that are really good at doing the simple things very, very consistently and extraordinarily well. So I want you to think about this. I'm going to show you what these 6 activities are, because there's only 6 ways you make money. And again, brace yourself. This is profound stuff. First one is prospecting, right? Really profound? No, it's not. Prospecting, the way we did it in cookware was we went to trade shows. How do you do it in mortgage and real estate? It's countless ways. Email marketing, any way that you generate a lead is prospecting. 2, once you have that lead, your activity is, how do you set an appointment with that person? I could spend, and I've done this before with new loan officers, 2 weeks just on these 2, on prospecting to generate leads and then setting appointments. If you are good and you can do those for 2 weeks, now you get a chance to actually present some sort of value. You show up at the meeting. How do you show up, though? Do you show up and wing it and think of this as a meet and greet and kind of listen to what their needs are and hopefully you spew out some information? Or do you have a presentation, something that's been proven to work, something that you know the sequence, it tells your story, creates credibility, it tells the company that's backing you up, it outlines what's your value proposition and what's your unique value proposition and how you're different. Gives them something visual and tangible to talk about. Again, this is one of those areas that most people that I deal with don't have that structured presentation. So of course, once you present, they have something to judge whether they want to buy or not, so that's when you gain the commitment or close the deal. And I like to use gain commitment because at this point, there really is no closing of a deal in mortgage, but there is sort of this ongoing management of a relationship. But the gaining of commitment or closing to me is when your conversion ratios reach above 80%, which usually is around application time. So if we can get them to that application, now we gain that commitment. They see the value in who you are and what you do. Now, of course, what happens is at the presentation of value, you've made a promise. At the gaining commitment phase, they've bought into your promise. Now it's time for you to keep that promise with your aftercare and your follow-up. This could be your CRM. This could be handwritten notes. There's all sorts of fantastic programs out there that help you follow up on what's going on. And if you do that well, then you get a chance to ask for referrals. I personally think asking for referrals throughout the process is the best way to do it, but I wanted to at least see this in the 6 steps here. So let's take these steps, and I'm going to quiz you for a minute here, okay? And I want you to, if you're with a group of people or by yourself, I want you to challenge yourself to see can you and how well do you understand what these 6 steps are? Because I'm also going to attach a a commitment objective to it. So of course, what's the first activity? I'll give you a second. Starts with a P. It's prospecting. So we prospect, but what's the purpose of prospecting? How do you know you've been successful? Or what's your commitment objective in prospecting? The result, the tangible thing you have, because the activity is what you do. The commitment objective or result is what you get, and that is a lead. Okay, so that is why you prospect. And so, how many leads do you generate? That should be a metric that you think about. Now, when we talk about the breathing of selling, some people say, "Well, what is that? Is it applications?" I say, "Okay, great. Take an application right now." They go, "Well, I can't. I'm not in the right room." I don't. Okay, perfect. So that's not a breathing. They go, "Well, marketing activities." I say, "Okay, market right now." They're like, "Well, I really, I can't." Or unless you send an email from your phone, that would probably be some sort of breathing. Making a phone call. There we go. Getting on the phone is the breathing of selling, talking. When I go into larger companies, the first metric I ask for is give me phone records if you have phone records. And I don't need names, but I can tell you without seeing who they are, how many sales they've made, who the number one salesperson is. And the only metric that I need is number of minutes used. Phones equal selling and sales. So we prospect to generate a lead. Now what's my next activity with that lead is I've got to set an appointment. Pick up the phone and find a date, time, and a place. I can't tell you how many times people struggle over what the objective is of setting appointments. They're like closing a deal. Like, no. You haven't even presented value yet. How are you going to close a deal? Setting an appointment is just getting a date, time, and a place that you can now go and present that value to them. And of course, once you present value, what's the purpose? There are three things I like to accomplish in that presentation of value. One is to show that you're credible, differentiate yourself, and gain their trust. Those three things, if you can show that you're credible, differentiate, and trust, the rest of it is super easy. So now, think about it this way. What's the next one? Imagine gain commitment if you are not credible, you're the same as everyone else, and they don't trust you. This step number 4, it's not going to happen. No one's going to buy in. They're not even going to listen to you. And so in this presentation of value, you have to be able to cover those fundamental elements of it. And in one of the other webinars we'll cover what we call the 5 sales of what happens in that presentation. So gaining commitment, it's where we need a signature. There's a skin in the game. I like application checks. There's something there where they have made a commitment to you. There's some sort of cost, whether emotional or financial, in not moving forward and doing business with you. And so, of course, once we get the signature, skin in the game, we do the aftercare and follow-up. And the purpose of that is 2 things. We want to create raving fans and wow experiences. All too often, people overlook this process. They close deals and they forget about their client, and they'll put them on an automated marketing campaign, which is great. I love the automated stuff. But what are you doing to wow them? What are you doing to really, truly take it to the next level? And here's the cool thing about wowing your clients is that it usually is free. It requires you to listen. One of my loan officers, I did used to own a mortgage company, we would challenge them to look for these wow moments. And one of our loan officers was taking an application, and the mother and father were in there, and they had a 2-year-old daughter. And the mother was taking the app, giving the information, and feeding the daughter Ritz crackers. And the girl remembers looking at her, and she goes, man, if we didn't have these Ritz crackers, I don't know how I would survive. And all the loan officer did was wrote Ritz in the top right-hand corner of the application as a reminder. And they went through the transaction. Everything went well. And upon closing, she went to Costco and bought the Costco size box of Ritz, the massive size. Maybe cost her $5 or $6, and put a bow on it, put it in the home. When they came in, they said, congratulations on your new home. Hopefully this makes the first few days just a little bit easier. That is what we call a wow. And what did it cost? $5, $6, but really it meant that she was listening and she was looking for what was going on. When she finds those activities, if you actually pay attention, you create that category in your mind of what are those things that are important, and you write it down, and you have the discipline and follow through to follow up on it, you'd be amazed at the things that you can accomplish and just how simple it can be. And when you do that, imagine now how easy it would be to get a referral from that person that you've just wowed. And when you get a referral, what do? We go right back up to the top and we start setting appointments again. So we look at this perpetual sales cycle here. We've talked about breathing. We've talked about sales process, becoming a sales professional. It really comes down to these elements. And over the next 52 weeks, this is going to be a central component of the things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be dissecting different elements of this and different proponents, from the areas of influence to presentation to gaining commitment to different ways to follow up and take care of your clients, getting referrals, etc. So as a key lesson, I want you to think about this. I want you to learn and develop the practice of going into every sales call with a clear commitment objective. Tell the people around you to ask you, what's your CO? What's your commitment objective? If you don't have a clear commitment objective, you need to sit back and ask yourself why you're doing this meeting. What is the next step in your sales process? How can you get them to take a commitment to move forward, whether to give you a referral or to move forward in some way, shape, or form? What is that next piece that you can do? So I like to think about us as sales professionals as we are managers of mini incremental commitments, not big ones. The more you can think about just the little incremental commitments, the little tiny ones that people are constantly saying yes to you, and you've broken it down in the process to be so easy and so simple to do business with you, you will find that these deals come in much easier, much faster, and much more consistently. So I'll leave this section here with this message is one of my favorite mentors, Jim Rohn. And he says, most people just try to get through the day, while sophisticated people learn how to get from the day. And I like to apply that to specifically to the commitment objective process. Instead of trying to get through the sales process or the sales piece, what can you get from it? How can you derive the most value from it? What can you do to make sure that you're getting that commitment objective and to make sure that your prospects and everybody's getting something from you? So that concludes the first part of the webinar, where we'll be giving you tips and sales processes and things that you can learn to implement immediately. The second part of this, it's a very short part, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, is we've been asked to make sure that we at least cover some basis on how BetterLoanOfficers.com works. I will also take some questions here before we move into that piece. So if for some reason you don't want to be a part of listening to how BetterLoanOfficers.com works, you're free to hop off, but I would invite you to stay on. There's some extremely powerful tools that we've incorporated in this, and again, it is free to sign up. Every single person on this call has a profile already. All you have to do is go on and claim that profile. So I'm going to ask Brian, as I sort of jump out of this and onto the website, to see if there's any questions that people have, any specifics around the sales process that we can answer here. So Brian, if you want to see, and I'll ask anybody on the call if they want to ask any specific questions.
Sure, not a problem. Anybody have any?
As I'm doing it, I'll just let you
go for it.
I'll just let you interrupt as they go if they come in. Basically, when you get into BetterLoanOfficers.com, the way you claim your profile is very, very simple. Again, we are the largest, most robust online review management system dedicated solely towards mortgage professionals. And so as you get to the website, you'll see a button up here at the top right-hand corner. It says For Loan Officers. This is how you search your profile, and you can search it by NMLS ID there. If you do want to let's say a customer searches you, they would type in your name, whatever that name is, and this is what the search results would look like as they come in. So Brian, just make sure you interrupt me if somebody does there. Come on. So again, this is what the search results would look like. These are people that have it. You'll see that if you do not have a claimed profile, it'll look like this, unclaimed, and all you have to do is click Claim Your Profile and select if you are a loan originator, company, real estate agent, and then all we really need there, because we already have all your information, is an email address and confirm it and password, and you have your free account. So any questions so far? Any questions on sales process, anything? All right, I'll just keep going here. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to emulate one of the accounts here, because I want to show you what happens when you get inside and what it looks like. Tyler Osby has been gracious enough to let me sort of show off his account. He is definitely one of the best people I've seen at leveraging online reviews and what's going on. He's the most reviewed loan officer in Iowa right now on pretty much every single site. He's somebody that's taking this very, very seriously. On our site alone, he's got 70 reviews now from real estate agents and consumers. As you can see, it's broken up into real estate agent reviews as well as consumer reviews. We are the only site that actually allows you to dispute reviews, because we know that right now there are people out there, especially on Yelp and some of the other sites, that people don't verify and they don't require any verification, especially with the CFPB. And so people are out there leaving frivolous reviews. And if somebody's out there to get you, we have a methodology to help protect you and your reputation. What you'll see here is also we have call to action buttons that none of the other sites have. So when you send people to us, we want people to either leave your review, apply for a loan. You control where that goes to. This is your own personal link that you control. Download a pro sheet, which I'll show you in a second. We also can connect with you via any social media. And we also are the only ones to have what we call our OCP score, which is your on-time closing percentage. This would be like your batting average, especially with what's happening with TRID right now. People and real estate agents, everyone's want to know, do you close loans on time? And the way we ask that, the way that happens, is very simple. Is when people go to leave you a review, let's just say we're a consumer, and all they do is they click on the buttons here, and at the end it says, did your loan close on time, yes or no? If it's a yes, it goes to your OCP score. If it's no, it opens up a comment box to make sure that the person gives instructions, and then it does not immediately go and contribute to your score. And in fact, it sends you an email and it goes into a process to help you resolve why it didn't close on time, because we found is most often that the loan did close on time, but it was something that the consumer didn't understand or forgot about. In fact, with the CFPB consumer complaint site, with the over 500,000 complaints that are on there, 79, almost 80% of those complaints were solved with explanation. And so what it means is that people are going out there to complain, but they're really the issue is very easily resolvable, and so we want to help facilitate that process to do that. So one of the things we look at as consumers are reviewing you in the areas of communication, accuracy, responsiveness, turnaround, we wanted to take all this information and say, how can we leverage that and turn it into a tool? If you remember, our mission statement was to give you the tools to communicate professionalism and that currency of trust. And so we created this concept called a pro sheet. And a pro sheet, basically, if you were to go to Los Angeles and you were looking to get a job as an actor or an actress, you'd have a beautifully designed sheet that had your headshot and what people say about you, what you've done, and all that sort of stuff. So we wanted to create that same piece, what we call the ultimate referral tool. And what that does is, there it is. It takes all the information that you have and puts it into a designed document that you can hand out and give out to referral sources. You can email out to customers. Your real estate agents can email that out. Instead of just a business card, they say, here's the person that we use, here's what people say about them, here's how they're rated in these areas. It's third-party endorsed, so it's not something that they control. They close 100% of their loans on time, and they're verified there, and here's all their contact information. Very powerful tool. It's one of the things that when you get Ethos verified on our site, that's one of the things that comes with it, along with all of these marketing tools up here that I just clicked on for the top. And marketing tools where I'll show you this piece here. One of the things that people love about this is that when they come to our site, not only are they going to see reviews from Better Loan Officers, but you can add all your other review sites here as well. So it's that one-stop place where people can see everything that you do. Instead, if you just go to Yelp or Zillow, you're stuck there. Not only are you stuck there, but they can also look at other people that you compete with in those areas, and basically it's this directory of all your competitors. So with that, of course, we are a place that you can see all of those different elements there. So with the where did we go? Marketing tools. Where are we? Here we go. Marketing tools. And Brian, any questions coming up? Just checking. Nothing yet. All right, we're still good. So you'll see that you have a place where you control your apply for a loan link. This is something that is yours and you design. Also, we give you the opportunity to create custom links. And so within there, you may have different elements that you like your clients to work with and visit. A lot of our customers have personal websites that they send their clients to, and so here would be the custom resources here, so you control what those look like. So this profile not only is telling about you, but also becomes a tool to help your sales process and what you want people to see. You can share your profile link via any social media, a very quick click of a button. We also give you two profiles, one that's located on BetterLoanOfficers.com, which is for your organic search, but also one that is a unbranded, if you will, page that is on .com. And what ends up happening is, so when you look at the branded page, you see that it's on Better Loan Officers, and here's the information, but people can go and click search and see, who are your competitors. But when you look at the My Mortgage page option, if you see up here on My Mortgage page, it doesn't have anything about BetterLoanOfficers.com. Doesn't have any links or anything that they can click. It basically keeps them on your profile and your profile only, so that they can more likely click one of your call to action buttons. Very powerful tool to also protect your reputation.
Say, Rene, Ray Jones has a question.
Sure.
Can this feed to or from Yelp and other review sites?
Well, right now, a lot of those sites don't allow access for external sites to feed information to them. But what we do is we do automated reviews to social media. And so if you look here under the automated review section, currently when you set up your Twitter and LinkedIn account, the moment you get anything that's 4 stars and above, it will automatically send those out to those channels for you and announce that this is what happened. And so we do not have the ability to automatically syndicate it to those sites because they have that closed off. But what we do have is something pretty cool, and I don't know if I have it here, but I'd have to pull up my Snagit because I just grabbed a picture of it. But when you do leave a review for someone, what it does do is it pops up a box and it asks the person that you just left a review for to copy and paste the review into, and it gives them links to the other social media sites. Where are those? I think they're got to be under review tools, no?
Yep.
Here they are. So you can enter in all your other review sites here. And so when your customer leaves you a review, that pop-up comes up, and you just click a button to say Google Plus, and then you can paste that review in there. So it makes the process much, much easier.
Great. Say, Rene, I got another question from Jay. What is your company revenue generation business model? Do you use PPC ad for your company or reach out to consumers?
Great question. So how do we make money? We've got a free account. We do not do any pay-per-click and any advertising, so the site is going to be ad-free. We do have two options. If you go onto our site, let's get over here under pricing. There we go. Let me pull that up. So this is the pricing for the paid membership. It's either $35 a month or $294 per year, where you save 30%. There is a free account as well, free membership here. Just pull this up here. Internet's a little bit slow. And with a short video showing you how to claim your profile in about 60 seconds. It's very simple. You still get a lot of really cool features. You don't get all of the marketing tools that I was showing you in terms of these elements, but you do get just a few of them, and you don't get the My Mortgage page option as well. Also, you can, if you have your own website, under Profile Tools, you can embed your profile into your website. And here's the code that you just give your administrator and put into your website, and this profile would show up just like this in your website. Does that answer those questions? So I think we're coming up to the end. If there's any other questions, I'll leave it at that. Again, everybody here on this call has an account already. All you have to do is go to BetterLoanOfficers.com and click on For Loan Officers and claim your free profile. If you've liked what you've seen today, we'll be doing this again next week with going more and more detail under the Better 52 webinar series. And so, again, I want to thank you for your time. And, let's see, Chick, cool, it's come a long way. Well, Chick, thanks, man. Chick Quinton just said it's come a long way, well done. Chick is also one of the, I would say probably call him the top expert when it comes to reputation management. And he's somebody that I look to and had many conversations with. And Chick, I think if you Google Chick, if you ever have any issues in terms of fixing your reputation or learning how to improve your reputation specifically, that's somebody that I would highly, highly recommend that you Google and find out, get in touch with. And alongside, he's just a hell of a guy too. So, Chick, thank you very much. So with that, if there are no more questions,
we do have another question from Jay.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yep. So how do consumer will find where to write a review?
How does a consumer find where to write a review?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm guessing what you're asking is, are consumers going to be finding this, or is this something that we're going to be marketing? So there's two things. One is and Brian, you could probably speak a lot more to how many Google pages we have indexed right now and how that process is going. And then, so the other piece, though, is we want this to be a proactive marketing tool that you can use to send out to your database. And so this is something that we want you to have this link in your email. We wanted to have this link in everything that goes out, so people can come back to your profile and take action on this, where they can leave a review. But in terms of consumers finding you organically, Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about that in terms of what's happening from an SEO standpoint?
Yeah, sure. From an SEO perspective, currently Google has indexed over 93,000 profiles from our database. So roughly about, that'd be about 25% or so of the users that have profiles in our database. So if you haven't claimed your profile, be sure to claim your profile. So when somebody is doing a search, a Google search on you, they're going to see your Better Loan Officers profile. And we're going to be driving traffic both organically and with some PPC, a lot of pay-per-click. We're going to be doing some real-time bidding and remarketing, which actually is going to be coming out here shortly. So stay tuned for that. We're focused on driving realtors right now because real estate agents are very interested in vetting out loan officers before they become referral partners. So we're getting a lot of questions from real estate agents that want to leverage the tool to establish those relationships. And then lastly, we're also driving consumers from various other sources, sites. So we're rolling this thing out, and what we're excited about is that we're getting a lot of organic traffic right now, and soon we're going to be driving a lot more traffic when we launch our RTB platform.
Awesome. And so Michael asked a question too, do we allow existing reviews to be copied and pasted into the database from other review sites? Right now, I mean, no, we don't do that because this is something that's coming from realtors and consumers. And so, if they wanted to copy and paste it, they could. But what we do is, and because what we find is that people look at all sorts of different review sites. We wanted people to come to Better Loan Officers, not only see the reviews that you're getting from specifically real estate agents and consumers. It's huge to have it picked apart. If a realtor's coming to do business with you, they want to see what other realtors are saying about you. If a consumer's coming to do business with you, they're going to want to see what other consumers are doing about you instead of having to kind of decipher who's who and who's where. But what we do have, again, is this other review section here. So, for example, with Tyler, if you click on his Yelp button, it takes you to his Yelp page where you can see all the the reviews that he's gotten here, and he's got tons of. Well, it's only showing 6, but I think he's got more than that. The challenge of what it also does when you go to Yelp, though, as you can see, is they will advertise right on your page. Now, these two showed up as something else, but if you refresh, let's see what happens here. Usually, you'll find something that is direct competitor of what's going on. This is one of the most frustrating elements of using some of these other sites, is they will advertise right on your page competitors that you use. Let's see if that works. It didn't change there, but so I hope that answers. Does that answer your question, Michael? In terms of how we can't copy and paste those currently, but thank you. Okay, perfect. So we got Jay. Let's see what Jay says. So is it an app? So we have a responsive site. So if you do go to our, let's see here, got it somewhere. We got a picture of what our app looks like. If I can get out of this thing. So Jay, yes, we do have. There's a mobile version of this, and I'll show you a picture of what it looks like here. My computer just decided to be really super slow. Give it a second. And if you just go to BetterLoanOfficers.com, you'll see it pop up on your phone. Very simple, easy to use, right there on your phone. And what's really cool too is if you save your profile, this is what's really, really cool. If you go to your profile and you have your headshot in there, your headshot saves is what we call a favicon, and favicon is the oh, I just lost everything there. Did I? I did. Don't send. Oh, well, there we go. That's fine. So if you go, it saves it as a favicon, and the favicon basically takes your headshot and uses that as the icon on your phone. So if you put that, if your realtor wants to refer you, you have them go to your profile on their phone, save it to their home screen, and your picture of your picture will be the button on their phone, which is actually a really simple and easy way to drive referrals. So does that answer your question, Jay?
Say, Lindsay's asking how to claim her profile again. I think maybe she missed from the home page to click on the 4 loan officers and enter in the NMLS ID number. Can you show her real quick?
Yeah, I lost my internet connection, or my website went down, so I can't do that at the moment. Oh, wait, let's see here. Hold on a second. It went over here. The PowerPoint ended up crashing on me. It's okay. I'm glad I did it at the end. So, Lindsay, how you claim your profile is up at the top, which says 4 loan officers. You click on 4 loan officers. and then you enter your NMLS ID. Like, Lindsay, do you have your NMLS ID? I don't see her question.
It's right in the middle there.
So you would basically type in your, I'll make something up. Let's see if that brings up anybody. I don't know. So I just made up a number, so we'll see. I know Tyler's. She'll pull that up. And Z. And the reason we have this, about every 3 or 4 searches, you're going to get the CAPTCHA thing that comes up, and what that does is it prevents any sort of bots or spiders from going and trying to find. I think I'm typing it in wrong. To go and spam your profile or anything like that. So yeah, Lindsay, just go in and search. Let's see how many Lindsays we have in our database here. At least it show up on our page. So are any other questions as I'm going through that? Brent, thank you very much. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Appreciate your time. And, of course, any questions, call. But, yeah, so these are a lot of unclaimed profiles with the name Lindsay, first name or last name. So, yeah, they're all there. Anyways, if there are no more questions, I will be closing this out. We're exactly at 1 o'clock. Thank you very much for everybody taking their time, and we'll see you again next Thursday for the next episode of Better 52.